Hey DECA members, this is Micah Melling, the Central Region Vice President of National DECA for 2011-2012. I want to speak to you all for just a few minutes about some important topics, about some topics that are very near and dear to my heart. These topics are the importance of career and technical education, the federal Perkins Act and how it impacts career and technical education, and the importance of reaching out to state and federal legislators. My presentation will mainly discuss those three topics, but before I get going and before I get too in-depth, let me give you some background information about why I'm recording this video. One of my main focuses as a national officer is reaching out to legislators and informing them about the importance of career and technical education and career and technical student organizations. I'm very passionate about this endeavor. By the end of this video, I think you'll understand why. Let me first start with discussing the importance of career and technical education and career and technical student organizations. One of my favorite things about career and technical education is that it provided me with a contextual learning method. In my high school marketing classes, I understood what I was learning, but more importantly, I understood why I was learning it. I knew that the business and marketing knowledge that I was gaining would directly apply to my college career and my future occupation. I've talked to many career and technical education students throughout the nation, and they say this same thing. Career and technical education provided a contextual learning method. They understood why they were learning what they were learning and how it would directly impact the rest of their lives. That's one of the main reasons I think career and technical education is so valuable. Another reason career and technical education is so valuable is because 16 million students enroll in career and technical education classes each year, and nearly every high school student takes at least one career and technical education class. So if we look at the sheer numbers, we can see that career and technical education is something that we should be placing a high value on and investing in. Now let me move on to one pretty impressive statistic about career and technical education. The state of Washington conducted a pretty lengthy research project about career and technical education, and this is one of the statistics they determined. For every $1 the government invests in career and technical education, they get a $7 return on investment in payments for taxes, Medicaid, Medicare, Social Security, and things of that nature. So as we can see simply from that statistic, career and technical education works, and it's something that we should be placing a high value on. Let me briefly move on to career and technical student organizations. I've been involved with DECA for 5 years now, and I can't even begin to explain how much this organization has done for me. It's allowed me to become the person I am. It's allowed me to become the leader that I am today. I've expanded my network. I've lived, I've learned, I've led. It's been such an incredible experience for me, and I'm going to go ahead and cut myself off now because I could talk for 45 minutes or an hour about DECA, but I don't think you want to watch this video for that long. Let me move on to one statistic about career and technical student organizations that I think is pretty impressive. Over 2 million students participate in CTSOs each year. Again, if we just look at the sheer numbers, we can see how valuable these educational opportunities are. If you talk to any student that's been involved in a CTSO and has put a whole lot of time and effort into it, I guarantee they will tell you it has impacted their life and it has made them a better leader, person, and future worker. Now let me move on to talk about the Perkins Act. And this will take a few minutes because the Perkins Act is a relatively complicated piece of legislation, and there's been some pretty big recent news about it. From 2002 until 2011, the Perkins Act was practically flat funded at $1.27 billion per fiscal year. Now you think, flat funded, that's a pretty good thing. It's good that we didn't receive any cuts. But actually, while funding was stagnant for 10 years, we lost 21% of our buying power due to inflation. That's pretty astounding. In fiscal year 2011, Congress cut the appropriation for the Perkins Act by $140 million, which was 11% of the Perkins Act budget. This was a huge cut, and it directly impacted school districts. Let me give you an example. I'm from Missouri. Before that huge cut to the Perkins Act, our state education department received about $25 million per fiscal year in federal Perkins funds. 85% of these funds are passed down to school districts and post-secondary institutions. After the cut, though, we now receive $22.4 million in federal Perkins funds, so it's about a $2.6 million difference. So our career and technical education programs on the local level were directly impacted by this large cut to the Perkins Act. Career and technical education programs throughout the nation were affected by this cut, as well as state education departments. After that large reduction to the Perkins Act, $140 million, the appropriation was reduced to approximately $1.13 billion. Now, for fiscal year 2012, Congress did not make any more cuts to the Perkins Act. They level funded the act at approximately $1.13 billion, which was good news because, as you know, we do have a significant amount of debt, and there is quite a large movement to cut federal spending, and we were very lucky that the Perkins Act did not incur any more cuts in fiscal year 2012. We have gotten some good news for fiscal year 2013. In President Obama's budget proposal for fiscal year 2013, he requested that the Perkins Act be level funded at $1.13 billion. In the past, President Obama has requested that the Perkins Act be reduced, but this year he requested that it be level funded, which is definitely great news for career and technical education stakeholders throughout the nation. The Perkins Act was up for reauthorization in 2012, but that reauthorization was rescheduled for 2013. But it doesn't look like it could happen in 2013. It looks like it will probably happen in 2014, so Congress and the U.S. Department of Education just keep pushing that back, and one of the main reasons for that is Congress is currently reauthorizing the Elementary and Secondary Education Act, better known as No Child Left Behind. The ESEA is going to go under quite a bit of change, so until Congress gets that out of the way and that ironed out, they probably won't take a look at Perkins. But what this does is it gives us an opportunity to reach out to congressmen and congresswomen and the U.S. Department of Education and say, hey, when you reauthorize the Perkins Act, we know there's going to be some more requirements in there. We know there's going to be some improvements in there, so why not up our funding a little bit? The movement at this point is to return Perkins funding to fiscal year 2010 levels, which was approximately $1.27 billion. We think this is very doable. The Association for Career and Technical Education is leading this charge, and we need your help. $1.27 billion is a pretty big difference from approximately $1.13 billion, but it's something that we can do. We can't be too ambitious and say, hey, double our funding, hey, triple our funding. But if we say, restore our funding to fiscal year 2010 levels, I think we'll have a shot at accomplishing that. But we need a whole bunch of voices to come together and help us in that fight. And that's what I encourage you to do. My final point is the importance of reaching out to federal legislators and state legislators. As I've just discussed, our funding was stagnant for about 10 years. During that time, we lost 21% of our buying power. Then our funding was drastically reduced. Now it's once again flat funded. We have to make sure that we do not incur any more cuts. And we have to start a movement, and we have to join a movement to increase our funding once again and make sure that we are being appropriately funded. As a career and technical education stakeholder, you understand the importance of these educational opportunities. You know that they provide incredible opportunities to today's students. We also understand that with reduced funding for career and technical education, career and technical student organizations will be adversely affected. These opportunities too are incredible. As I discussed, I could talk for hours about what DECA has done for me. If I hadn't had DECA in my life, I wouldn't be the person that I am today. We need to make sure we preserve all of these opportunities for today's students and tomorrow's students as well. Career and technical education is worth fighting for, and we need to make sure we're doing that. One final point I want to touch on is that we can't forget about our state legislatures. I'm from Missouri, and our state legislature appropriates approximately $50 million for career and technical education every fiscal year. So it's important for us to reach out to our state legislators and inform them about the importance of career and technical education. Now, state level funding for career and technical education isn't just prevalent in Missouri. Many state legislatures appropriate funding for career and technical education. So in many cases, it is extremely important to reach out to state legislators and inform them about the importance of DECA, marketing education, business education, and entrepreneurship education. I think a lot of times we forget to reach out to our state legislatures. We only focus on the federal legislature and the congressmen and congresswomen, but we can't forget about the people in our state's capital. It is important to inform all people in the government about the importance of our programs and why they should be preserved and why they should be fairly funded. I want to apologize real quickly for maybe stumbling around on my words for a bit. I'm very passionate about this topic, and I hope that you've been able to see why. Sometimes my brain gets moving faster than my mouth, and I try to slow myself down, but I'm just so passionate about what I'm talking about, it sometimes doesn't happen. But in closing, first of all, I want to thank you for taking the time to watch this video. You may be taking the first step in reaching out to your legislators and informing them about your DECA chapter. Or you may be an experienced person with advocating for career and technical education, and you are striving to learn more. Either way, I hope that you've taken something away from this video. Overall though, I hope that you've seen that career and technical education and career and technical student organizations are worth fighting for. They're worth fighting for because they provide such incredible opportunities for today's students, and they will provide incredible opportunities for tomorrow's students. We've also seen that there is a need to fight. Our funding has been reduced, and if we stay silent, if we don't speak up and voice our opinions, our funding could be further reduced. We must stand together, fight for our funding, and make a difference. Thank you for watching this video, and please contact me if I can be of assistance. My email address is decavpmicah, DECAVPMICAH @gmail.com. My term as Central Region Vice President ends in May of 2012, but after I am out of office, I will still be happy to assist you with political outreach endeavors. Thank you for watching this video, and I look forward to hearing from many of you.